Hola, mi amor. Are you ready to wake some people up today?
Always, because too many experts out there are still invisible, and that ends now.
This is the Inspire Authority podcast, where we teach coaches, creators, and entrepreneurs how to build unstoppable brands through writing, storytelling, and media.
I'm RJ Stewart Inspire, author, business coach, and creative strategist.
And I'm Noelle Ayana, digital creator, brand strategist, and yes, sometimes I call him mi amor.
Together, we're giving you the truth. No fluff, no filters. Because talent is nothing without visibility, and visibility is nothing without authority.
So buckle up, amor. It's time to turn your message into power and your story into profit.
Your love is a flame I surrender to.
Hey, Net Builders, thanks for joining us for another great episode where you're guaranteed to get value. And today we have a great guest, Stephanie Beausoleil. I got her name right, so I feel happy about that. And I'm going to leave the floor to you. Please introduce yourself to our audience today.
Hi, well, my name is Stephanie. I am a certified dog training instructor through the Certification Council for Pet Dog Trainers. I just recently started my own business. I opened in October, and it's called Notre Dog Academy. And I am the only business of my kind in the Tacoma, Pierce County area. It is a doggy day school rather than daycare. So if you think about with children, sending your dog to daycare is like sending your kids out to recess. They're monitored, but it's not necessarily by a teacher, and they're just kind of kept to make sure that they don't kill themselves. And then play with each other as they want to, whereas day school is structured and they are learning all day long, using their brains, and I'm going to make sure that they are not engaging in any behaviors you wouldn't want them to do at home, and generalizing their training for you during the day.
Oh, outstanding. I just had a conversation earlier with a colleague of mine of he wanted to be the he was worried about being the first to do something, you know what I mean, especially in this area, and so many people, entrepreneurs, and people in general are afraid to be pioneers, so I think that's great that you're doing. So what made you take that step to say, hey, I don't want to fall into that general fold, I want to do something different?
Well, it came from I've been dog training for 10 years. I've been training people to train their dogs for 10 years. And my degree is in psychology from Pacific Lutheran University. And so I've got a good background base for what people need and what helps people to be successful. And through my 10 years, people would often ask me, I'd love to send my dog to daycare. Do you have a recommendation? And my answer was always no. I can tell you what to look for and what things are red flags, but I don't know enough about any one business to say yes or no. And often things change so quickly in the dog daycare world. It's a very difficult physical position. I worked for one for 3 years, and I came out probably aging 7 years in that time because it is so difficult. So there's a lot of turnover, and it's very difficult for a business owner running a doggy daycare to make sure that all of their staff has the education they'd like. Through no fault of their own, it's just a difficult thing to do. So knowing that there are so many people in the area who want to send their dogs somewhere, but they don't necessarily know where to go, and they want them to be trained, I felt very safe knowing that I can open this up and it will be something that people want.
Outstanding. So you mentioned your psychology degree. Does that help a lot with being able to so the transition from psychology the relationship between the psychology of a human and the dog, how similar or different are they?
It's very similar, and that's actually how I got interested in dog training. I was taking my psych classes, particularly the psychology of learning, and most of the things you learn in that class about learning are you leaving, Nadia? Got my kids. Are done through animals, and then they use the same principles on humans, and it pretty much is a straight across transfer. And so going through those classes and learning the concepts, I just kept saying, this sounds like dog training. This sounds like I am training animals. And it is. It's all psychology. Dog training is 100% psychology.
Wow.
And a lot of the principles that I teach you, you can use on your children. I like to joke, you can also use them on your husband.
I can't let my wife watch this episode then. Okay. So this brings up something for me. Like, I have to ask this question. Humans have certain traits, or what do you call emotions, like that cause them to have pride, ego, things like that get in the way of them being able to be coachable. Now, dogs typically don't have these things. So I imagine it's a lot easier. There's no barrier to break down,
Oh yeah, working with the dogs is a ton easier than the people. When I do my private training, because I do the day school Monday through Thursday, and then on Sundays, I do private training appointments in people's homes. I like to tell people I train humans, and then you train the dog.
Uh-huh.
And I can explain all the psychology behind why I'm telling you to do what I'm telling you to do, because a lot of people in, watching TV shows, popular culture, or whatever their parents told them 30 years ago, they don't know the right way to do it, and that's why they hire me. So it is often a lot harder for me to convince the person it's the right thing to do than it is to train the dogs themselves. I had a dog with their first day this week, and by lunchtime, I recorded a little video and I posted it on my business Facebook of what she's already learned in the couple hours that she's been with me. It can go so quickly. Whereas with a human, they go, oh, well, I thought you were supposed to do why we don't do that, and then why we do this, and then have to tell them about the studies that have explained and shown why we do this, and have to really convince them before they'll believe me.
Oh man, I feel like that's such a hindrance for us. We're so closed-minded, and I can only imagine how many opportunities I've passed up just because I wanted to analyze everything with it, analysis paralysis.
Yeah,
it's called. Yeah,
absolutely. Which I think is actually a point in why I'm such a wonderful instructor, if I toot my own horn here, because my degree in psychology gives me all of the background information to very easily be able to say, this is what's going on in your dog's brain, and this is why we do it this way, and this is how it's similar to humans. So being able to relate that quickly to people and show the evidence really does help break down those barriers faster than if I only have the dog training knowledge without understanding where it came from.
I love the fact that you use evidence-based and case studies and stuff like that. That's as a business coach, is something that I try to push a lot of my clients to use, but it's like they're so afraid of it. But I love the fact that you use it right out of the gate, because it speaks volumes. You could toot your own horn all you want. You know what I mean? But when you have case studies and you have tangible evidence, like it's great. Like, what made you decide to go that route? Because most people that open a business, they say exactly what you said. I have the knowledge. Let's go do this.
Well, everything dog training that I do is science-based, and that came from learning it through science in the first place. That's where I wanted to continue learning because I knew it was correct. I could see why. Also, the certification, any dog trainer who is certified through, there are a few different agencies that do it, but the respected agencies has to agree to what's called the LEMA policy. And that's the least intrusive, minimally aversive options for every dog. And so a lot of people, I even have family members who, extended family, so we're not naming anyone's particularly, who don't respect the type of training that I do because I'm too soft. And, those individuals haven't taken the time to ask me why. And one of my number one rules for when I know you personally is I'm not going to give you any dog training advice unless you ask. Otherwise, we can lose friends quickly.
Fair enough.
So the least intrusive, minimally aversive, the reason behind it is because a lot of people will try and use punishment with their dog. And Psychologically, punishment is very effective. I can show you studies about why punishment works. But the things about punishment are you either have to punish so hard the first time that they never try again, which is going to be traumatic for anybody, or you have to be 100% consistent, giving the punishment the instant the behavior happens, every single time it happens. So if it's something that they can do when you're not there, or heaven forbid, you're, watching TV or eating your dinner and you miss one, you lose so much progress in your training. It's just not worthwhile, and it damages your relationship with your dog so much more than you're actually training. So we use it's called positive reinforcement methods. If you want to talk the psychology behind it, those words don't actually make sense with the psychological definitions, but culturally, that's how we speak about it. It is so much easier. There is a lot more leniency in making mistakes with your dog and still being able to continue without damaging your relationship. So we do it this way because it's easier and because it does not damage the relationship.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I imagine from the methods that you mentioned earlier, people probably go forward with that instant gratification of one big punishment and let's be done with it.
Sometimes, but if that first punishment isn't strong enough, there's so much that can go wrong. You're either going to end up with a dog that's terrified of you, which nobody wants. You want them to be your best friend. Most people don't know how to get there. Most people, they're trying to use a squirt bottle or shake a can of pennies or a shock collar or a prong collar to solve their problems. And then the second I walk in, I say, okay, tell me how you've been using these things in the past. Are they working? I already know they're not because you're hiring me. And then I say, okay, you've done the study yourself now. You've tried it yourself and it's not working. So let's do something different. And I can tell you why if you want to know why, or we can just move forward. You've got 1 hour of my time. How do you want to spend it?
Fair enough. And I think that's really weird. I think that's weird that people try to do things their way. They don't get the results they want. Then they seek help and argue with the professional. I think that is fascinatingly amazing to me. Like, I just don't understand the train of thought. Hey, if you're coming to me, evidently your way didn't work.
Yeah, and there have been a couple of times where I've said something along the lines of, you're paying for my time regardless. And, I've worked with thousands of dogs. I know that this works. We can either spend your hard-earned money standing here and arguing, or you can try my method. It's up to you. It's your money. I'm not going to tell you how to spend it. And that seems to be one of the most effective methods to get people to go, oh, maybe I should just try it. But, it's a small percentage of the population that is that stubborn about it. Most people, by the time they call me and they're willing to pay for my services, which are not cheap, they're willing to listen.
Huh. Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
So I have a question. Your business model is a little bit different from most of the people that I talk to. So the client pays the money. The person pays for the services. But for you, who is really the client?
Oh, it's the human. Absolutely. If they don't see, if they're not seeing progress with their dog and they're sending them to day school, twice a week for 3 months at $800 a month, they're very quickly going to not want to do that anymore. So one of the things that I do is report cards. It's an academy. I run it like a school. Every month, the dog on their last day that they're with me, be it the last day of the month or, if they're 1 week sooner than that, if I know that's their last day, I'll do a little test and I'll write down the percentages of everything that they did correctly the first time they were asked without needing help, how often they did it correctly, and they can see the progress. I don't want anyone just sending their dog going, well, I hope this is working. I hope spending all this money is doing something. Just like how I train and what I choose to use as my methods is science-based, I want you to be able to see the progress and see what you're doing. It's working. I also have a webcam available whenever I have students. My webcam is on Anybody can go to my website, watch what I'm doing, hear what I'm doing. And occasionally I will be working on something that it looks strange. And I want people to see that. I want them to see, me sitting in a chair, looking at my phone, ignoring the dog. And I'll be sitting there, staring at my phone, and I'll narrate, the reason that I'm doing this is because I want the dog to learn to make decisions on their own without me telling them. And so every time the dog does this, I'm rewarding them. So it looks like I'm ignoring them, but I'm really paying very close attention. But if I were to do that and have no sound, and someone just tunes in to see me sitting there staring at my phone with a dog looking bored and anxious next to me, it would look really terrible.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
That makes a lot of sense.
So I want to be completely transparent in everything that I do. I want people to be able to see it, to be able to research why, and see that anything that you find that's reputable is going to support what I'm doing.
Yes, and I think that transparency is a huge thing. I think that builds so much trust between you and your client. Like imagine a car repair shop doing something like that, putting cameras up and saying, hey, you just paid $5,000 for me to fix this and that and that and this. Here's a camera watching us work. You know what I mean? Imagine the trust that would build in that situation.
Absolutely. And that is why when I get clients that, they want to switch to just daycare because they're happy with their dog, where their dog is, or maybe they're doing both, one day of day school a week, one day of daycare, and they ask me, how do I pick a daycare? One of the things I tell them is if they don't have cameras, that's a red flag. If they don't let you see the facility, that's a red flag. You need to be able to trust these people, see what they're doing, sometimes even smell what they're doing, because there's a difference between walking in and, a dog just pooped on the floor and they're cleaning it up, and the smell of this place is never cleaned properly.
Uh-huh.
So you want to walk in there, you want to see it, you want to be able to see the cameras and know what they're doing with your dog all day.
And their dog, can't advocate for himself.
Absolutely.
Doesn't have a voice, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There are facilities in Tacoma where dogs have died at daycare.
Wow.
And not, just old dogs. Some of them were very young. I specifically know of one where the dog was about 4 months old.
Wow.
It's pretty terrifying to not know what's going on.
Wow. Yeah, that transparency is great. It makes a world of difference. So I imagine. So that's something that the value that you provide up front, these extra, I won't call them extra because it's something that you provide as a standard service, but in the eyes of clients, this is something that other establishments don't do. So it's seen as extra, you know what I mean? So I think that's great that you provide that value up front and all of these perks. That's the word I was looking for. So I was gonna fumble around until I got it. No,
one of the things, I do get a lot of people who contact me and they go, wow, your program looks amazing, but I just can't afford it. And I understand it's an investment. And if you can't afford what I offer, I am also happy to help you find something that you can afford. I want to help everybody. I'm not just going to say, sorry, you can't afford me, bye. I've got the 10 years experience. I've got a lot of education, and I'm going to charge for it and pay myself what I should be paid. But I also understand that there are people who can't afford it. I mean, quite honestly, I couldn't afford my own prices if I were to hire me, maybe a lesson or two. And if that's where you need to be, a lesson or two, I'm going to make sure you learn as much as you can in those 2 lessons to get you as far as you can in your dog training journey. And often people only need 1 or 2 lessons to be happy with what they need from their dog.
Yeah. And I'm going to paraphrase what you just said again, because I want to make sure everybody heard that. Okay. She has her education, which she invested into financially and in time, her certifications, the time and experience that she has, and she pays herself what she's worth, what she's valued at. This is the reason why I say that, and I wanted to say it again or paraphrase it, is because a lot of entrepreneurs go into their business and they've invested time and education, and they say, well, no one's purchasing my product or service, and they instantly lower their prices and devalue what they're worth, you know. So I really think that that is amazing, and I love the fact that you said that.
Yeah, it is a very important thing. It's very common in the dog training world, and that's the world I know. So I don't know what other industries it is, that people will undervalue themselves, not charge enough. And really, they hurt the industry when they do that, because we are worth more than $80 an hour when you drive 20 minutes to get there and 20 minutes back. And there are some trainers who are doing that. There are a lot. The certified ones, there's only a few that are doing that. And, you know, maybe their mission is to help people with a lower income. I don't know where they're at, if they can afford to just keep doing that, or if they don't know that they're worth more. But one of the things that really helped me when I was learning how to run my business and set it up was a program called Ventures. And it is a Seattle-based online program for entrepreneurs in Washington to take classes. You have to take the first class before you can do anything else, and their prices are on a sliding fee scale. So I think I paid $50 to take the first class because I didn't have an income for several months. So there wasn't much I could afford. And so that's what they said I needed to pay. The first class was, I believe, 8 weeks. I learned so much about finding my target demographic, pricing things adequately, making sure my budget made sense. It was really just an invaluable experience to miss. And then once you've done that first class, you are a member for life for their program, and they always have professional coaches available to help you as you go forward.
Wow.
So that was a huge help for me to understand, you know, what I needed to charge for things and how to calculate that I was going to hit the goals that I needed to, and determining how much money I needed to pay myself and how to make that happen was extremely important. And the other thing about
resource.
Yes, it is a wonderful resource. I love the program. If you are an entrepreneur in the area, it's never too late to go for that education.
Yes.
The other thing that is very important to me is running an eco-friendly business. I am the only eco-friendly dog training center in Pierce County. I did find one in King County when I was looking it up, but I didn't really go any farther than that. It is hard to find anyone in the dog industry that is trying to be eco-friendly. And I just recently got my EnviroStar certification for my facility to show that I am not just greenwashing, I am actually an eco-friendly business.
Why do you think that? Why do you think that that's so rare in that industry?
Probably a lot of people not charging enough for their services, so they can't even afford to try and do the things the right way. And you know that it's something that is kind of new for people to care about anyway, as far as, you know, looking at human history. Like, where did we start caring about the environment? It's not a very old concept at this point. So getting to integrate that into the business world is taking some time. But it's something that's extremely important to me. You know, going to PLU really did help educate me on that. They're a very eco-friendly business themselves, as a private university. And I did some of my studies. I did a program where I went to Ecuador, and I learned about how the oil industry is poisoning the people there and destroying the environment. And it really opened my eyes to a lot of things. So anything that I have the power to do better, I do my best to do that.
Outstanding.
And I can't do everything right. Nobody can. I mean, the second you get on a vehicle, that's the end. The second you're not making your own fabric to make your own clothes, you're not being, you know, as sustainable as possible. But I really want people to focus on progress, not perfection, both with their dog training and their sustainability efforts.
Yeah, and every little step, if everyone does a little part, you know, it makes things better. You know, no one person can carry the weight of a whole city. Like, I'm going to be eco-friendly enough to compensate for the lack thereof my entire city. That's way too much to carry.
Absolutely.
I mean, so I think that's great. I think that's amazing. Um, so when you first started, you said you had no income at the time. So when you went into business, what was that fear level at? Like,
So I have a couple of things in my favor. Thankfully, I'm able to run the business out of my home. I have another building on my property that's out, the entrance is in the alley. So I'm able to use that building for my day school. I only take 5 dogs at a time because I'm following all of the city codes, which is necessary and also good because I am fine with a limit of 5 dogs.
okay.
I don't want to overextend myself. I want to make sure that I am fulfilling my promises to my clients, that I have the amount of supervision that I tell you I do. So the beauty in that is I don't have rent. That is a huge factor in helping me open my business so quickly. However, the building was not done when I decided to do this. And I also needed to, pay all of the expenses of filing a business license, getting insurance, building a website. I had no idea was going to be so many layers of difficulty that it is. You think, okay, so I'm going to this is the website address that I want, and then I'm going to have a way to build it, and then I'm good. But there were about 6 layers that I didn't know about beyond that I had to pay for.
Yes, it's
I did eventually find a service that put it all together, and then also it is my client database as well. And just like when you're finding a professional that you trust, I am paying for this service much more than I expected to, but it's the gold star. It's getting everything done for me and really lowering my stress and ability. But just one of those expenses that I didn't know was going to be so high. When you're going in, you think you know all the expenses, and then you learn that there are 3 times as many. Oh. So I did have some savings, and now I don't. And my credit card also reflects that. So I am not at the point where I have broken even with the loan that I took from myself. But I'll get there.
Investment in yourself is absolutely amazing. It is absolutely amazing. A lot of people are really afraid to do so. I'm not sure why. When you believe in an idea that you have or a business plan that you have, you invest into that. I mean, I've seen people invest more in a pair of Jordan sneakers.
Yeah. Think about what it is that if you think about, we talk about voting with our money to support businesses that we trust. Mm-hmm. You vote with your money for yourself too. You're spending money on something, are you spending money on it because it's going to help you and improve you? Or is it, a self-care? Is it something that really truly makes you feel good, then go for it. But what about the things you're spending money on just because of what other people might think?
Oh man. That's a big one. Mm-hmm. That's a big one. Some people, I've had to help one of my clients before, and that we're looking at their revenue and we're looking at what's going out as far as expenses, and I'm like, hey, the way we set up your business model, you should have way more net left over. And it's like, all right, you know what? Let's stop everything. We're gonna sit down. We're gonna look at what's coming in. We're gonna look at what's going out. And after we sat there and did everything, it's like, why do you go out to eat every day? That's $500 just on going out to eat. What are you doing? Why did you go and buy these shoes? And, it usually boils down to perception, what other people think of them. Or I have to have these shoes. I have to have this. Why did you just go and buy a brand new car? We just talked about the car you paid off. You have no payments on a car. And now why'd you go and buy a new one? For what? Who are you trying to impress?
Absolutely.
I think that's not just an entrepreneur problem or small business owner problem. That's society in general, but it hurts the entrepreneur a little bit more when you realize that you have to invest. Usually, we have to invest our personal funds into starting our business. So No, I think that you sounds like you're managing it very well. Like you really actually have a mindset for this. That's something that a lot of entrepreneurs lack. Yeah, you really have a mindset. It sounds like, this kind of came a little natural. Do you have any entrepreneurs in your family at all?
Yeah, actually, my dad has owned his own contracting business as long back as I can remember. Uh, I learned a lot of lessons on what not to do from them because everybody has to learn those lessons, particularly with finances. That's something that my parents still haven't, unfortunately, been able to do, is separate their own finances from the business finances. So that was something from the very beginning I wasn't going to let them mix at all. So as soon as I had my business license, I went out and opened the business bank account, and I didn't want it to be, I'm spending my own money so that I can get the things that I need to fulfill the services for my clients. And, maybe it is my money to start with because I'm investing in my business, but all of my books, they show what I've put in so I can repay myself as I make a profit later.
Awesome.
And there actually is one thing that turned out to be more important than many of the others that I wouldn't have thought about at all. Making sure as an entrepreneur, you are taking care of your mental health. Extremely important. As I was going through all this, I had business coaches, and that was wonderful. But having a counselor that I'm talking to every 2 weeks, when things get difficult, when I'm not sure if I can handle it, having that person there to support me, and also having, checking in with my PCP, talking to her about, I was having issues with focusing on things and being able to remember just silly things that I didn't realize were actually part of a diagnosis. And she made a diagnosis and got me on a medication for it. And now I can think so much better because my brain is working closer to a normal person's brain. And I didn't even realize that this was something I've been struggling with my whole life. So being aware of my health and my mental health has probably helped me more than anything else.
That's a great point. And I think that's something on this show that we don't touch up on enough. And I thank you for bringing that up. And, being an entrepreneur is kind of like your arm bends this way. It's kind of like bending your arm back all the way this way and touching the back of your head. It's an unnatural position. It's going against tradition. It's very unorthodox, and it's doing the opposite of what we were programmed to do through our whole life, which is go to school, go to college, pay for college, get in debt for it, and then work for someone and pay off loans until you can possibly get a pension maybe, or Social Security. And when you become an entrepreneur, small business owner, you're literally going against that grain and bending that arm the other way. So it comes with doubts, it comes with fears that most people don't have, and it forces you to use another side of your brain that most people don't use. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially like you were saying, thinking about retirement and taking care of myself when I'm older, and just health insurance and making sure I'm going to be able to afford that. And if I'm going to hire employees later on, what I want their lives to look like with me as their employer, that was part of how I set my prices. I need to be able to take care of the people who are going to help me run this business. And if I can't give them everything that I want in an employer, I'm not ready to hire.
That's amazing though. The fact that you thought about that ahead of time, because what I see a lot of business owners do is start with a low price. Then once they hire people, they raise their price to offset paying their employees. So I think that that's great that you structured your business like that. So, hey, once you do hire, I don't have to change my pricing. I don't really know too many other people. I probably actually really never thought of that, honestly. So I actually learned something right there. So that's actually a really cool concept. And the fact that you think about your future employees and how you want their life to be, working with you. I don't think that that's something that's taken into consideration during the thought process of creating a business. I don't think a lot of employers think about that ahead of time, especially in the infancy of their business, if that makes sense.
Well, and I mean, our society tells us to pay people the smallest amount that we can to have them stay. And that's not what I want. I want to take care of my people. I want them to be happy working for me. I worked for another dog training business for a couple of years that was, the owner is a friend of mine, and she ended up having to shut the business down at about the same time that I was thinking about starting mine. So getting things together very quickly was necessary after that happening, but it was, one of the things that COVID did to the world.
Yeah.
So, but one of the things that she did was she made sure that her employees felt appreciated and that they were paid what they were worth. And she did everything that she needed to make them know that they are worthwhile people and that we are worthwhile people that she cares about. So I want to continue doing that. And, she told me some stories I was asking her for tips starting the business because she already had, where people would say, as a small business, I can't afford to pay people. And she would say, well, my starting pay is $30 an hour for anyone that I hire. That's without a certification and experience.
Wow.
I structured my business that way.
Wow.
And, people would just not understand that. But if we're charging what we're worth so that we can make sure to support the people that are going to support us, then it's going to be a much better relationship and a much more sustainable, in the non-eco-friendly definition of the word, business.
Outstanding. Oh, that's great. Thank you for explaining that, and even giving us an example of that. That's an amazing concept there that I really don't think is touched on a lot at all. And I've been through a lot of business courses and never has that been brought up. I think that's amazing. So we're almost out of time. So what do you think should be the biggest takeaway for our audience for this episode?
Oh, I mean, I think a big part of it is to make sure that if you are hiring a professional, you're willing to pay what they're worth, and respecting that. There's a lot of programs out there where they will charge you a sliding fee to help you. Don't be afraid to reach out to the professionals that you can't afford, because we still want to help connect you with the people that can help you and that are worth spending money on, even if they don't have all the experience we do. And of course, if you need a dog trainer, place to put your dog during the day, I'm here and I would love to chat. I also love to help people find a dog if you're looking for a dog and want to find one that's going to match your lifestyle and not end up with a border collie in an apartment building. Something like that is a nightmare. I want people to feel like they can reach out to me and ask whatever questions they need to ask. I'm here to help. I want to be transparent, and if it's not something that I can do for you, I will find someone who can.
Outstanding. How can they reach out to you? How can people get in touch with you?
And my business email is info@notredog.com. So the business is Notre Dog Academy. And if you're a Notre Dame fan, it's Notre Dog Academy to help with the spelling. So you can reach out by email, and my business phone number is 253-765-8118. You can call or text there as well. And being that I am the only person running my business, I'll get back to you as soon as I can, which usually is Fridays. It's my day off and my day that I do my administrative stuff and reaching out to the community like I am right now.
Outstanding. And all of that information will be in the description. And if you're on YouTube watching this, if you're on netbuilders.com, it'll be in her bio on NetBuilders. And I really thank you for being on the show today and providing the great value that you did. And I've got a lot of stuff to look up now and think about because of this conversation here. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you so much for having me. I've really enjoyed the conversation as well.
Same here. All right. NetBuilders, thank you for joining us. And we'll see you on the next episode. And you guys keep networking, keep building and scaling your business. Until next time.